Stop the frantic motion of your day. Silence the notifications, the demands, and the noise of the mediocre majority. Imagine you are seated in a grand study in the year 1908. The room is lined with mahogany bookshelves, the air thick with the scent of expensive cigars and the weight of immense power. Across from you sits a man with steel gray eyes and a beard that bristles with authority. He is the richest man in the world, Andrew Carnegie. He leans forward, his gaze piercing your soul, and whispers the secret that built the steel empire of America. "Mr. Hill," he says, "no man becomes great on his own. The secret is not in the man, the secret is in the mastermind. You have been told that success is a solitary journey. You have been told to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You have been told that the genius works alone in a tower. These are lies. The greatest accumulation of power in human history was not built by individuals. It was built by the coordination of minds. This audiobook is the unlocking of the Carnegie secret. We are not here to read a biography. We are here to activate a psychic mechanism known as the mastermind. What is the mastermind? It is not merely a group of people talking. It is a distinct, separate, and invisible entity. Hill defined it as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. But here is the metaphysical key that most miss. When two minds come together in perfect harmony, they create a third mind. This third mind is the mastermind. It is an invisible field of energy that possesses a higher intelligence than the sum of the two individuals. It is a connection to the infinite storehouse. You are currently operating on the power of one battery, your own brain. It is limited. It gets tired. It runs out of ideas. The mastermind connects you to a grid of batteries. When you activate this code, you are no longer thinking with just your neurons. You are thinking with the combined intelligence of your alliance, and through them, you are tapping into the ether itself. This is why the rich get richer. They do not work harder than you. They do not have more hours in the day. They have access to a third mind that solves problems while they sleep. They have a council. Today, we begin the initiation. You are going to learn how to form this alliance. You are going to learn how to select the members, whether they are living partners or invisible counselors from history. You are going to learn the strict laws of harmony that maintain the connection. If the harmony breaks, the mastermind dissolves. This is not a social club. This is a psychic fusion. It requires the total suspension of the ego. It requires a definite chief aim. Prepare yourself. You are about to step out of the isolation of the struggler and into the boardroom of the titans. You are about to realize that 1 + 1 does not equal 2. In the Napoleon Hill Code, 1 + 1 equals infinity. Affirmations of the third mind. I am the creator of a mastermind alliance. I harmonize my mind with the minds of others to create a third power. I access the infinite intelligence through the portal of the mastermind. I am never alone. I am supported by the collective genius of my council. I surrender my ego to the greater power of the alliance. Chapter 2. The Psychic Ether of Infinite Intelligence. We must now define the source of the power. Where does the mastermind get its information? It does not pull it from thin air. It pulls it from the ether. Napoleon Hill was not just a business reporter. He was a mystic of the highest order. He understood that the universe is composed of energy, vibrating at different rates. The air around you is not empty. It is filled with radio waves, thoughts, and the vibrations of every mind that has ever existed. Hill called this the infinite intelligence. It is the central database of the universe. It contains every solution to every problem. It contains the blueprint for every invention. It contains the location of every dollar you desire. The single human brain is a radio receiver. But a single brain often has a weak signal. It is full of static, fear, doubt, worry. The Mastermind Alliance acts as a signal amplifier. When two or more minds align in a spirit of absolute harmony, the signal strength increases exponentially. You pierce through the static. You download directly from the infinite intelligence. This is the secret behind the flash of inspiration. Have you ever struggled with a problem for weeks, and then, while talking to a friend who understands you, the answer suddenly hits you like a lightning bolt? That was not your brain working. That was the mastermind downloading the answer from the ether. To utilize the Hill Code, you must accept that you are surrounded by this fluid, intelligent energy. You must treat the ether with respect. It is sensitive to thought. If your mastermind group meets to complain about the economy, you are broadcasting a signal of lack into the ether. The ether, being impersonal, will amplify that signal and deliver more poverty to your group. But if your mastermind meets to discuss expansion, vision, and service, you broadcast a signal of abundance. The ether organizes matter to match that frequency. You must view your thoughts not as private secrets, but as cosmic broadcasts. The mastermind protects you from negative broadcasts. It acts as a shield. When you are alone, you are vulnerable to the negative thought forms floating in the ether, the collective fear of humanity. When you are in the alliance, you create a dome of protection. Inside the dome, only high-frequency thoughts are allowed. This creates a vortex of success. People will feel it when they walk into your presence. They won't know why, but they will sense a density, a gravity. That is the accumulated power of the ether swirling around you. You are building a receiver tower. The taller the tower, the more harmonious minds, the clearer the signal. Do not tolerate static in your alliance. If one member is cynical, doubtful, or jealous, they cut the wire. They must be removed. The connection to the infinite is more important than politeness. Affirmations of the ether. I am a receiver of the infinite intelligence. I amplify my mental signal through the harmony of the mastermind. I broadcast only thoughts of wealth and success into the ether. I protect my mind from the negative thought currents of the world. I am connected to the universal database of all knowledge. Chapter 3. The Definite Chief Aim, the Anchor of Power. The mastermind is a powerful engine, but an engine without a rudder is a disaster. You cannot simply gather people and say, let's be successful. That is vague. That is weak. The ether does not respond to vague wishes. You need a definite chief aim. This is the anchor. This is the coordinate you punch into the navigation computer. Andrew Carnegie commanded Napoleon Hill to write down his goal and stare at it until it burned a hole in his mind. Hill teaches us that 98% of people are drifters. They drift through life without a rudder, tossed by the winds of circumstance. They take whatever job is offered. They accept whatever income is given. They are slaves to the accidental. The master of the code is a non-drifter. You must define exactly what you want, when you want it, and what you are willing to give in return. This must be a written statement, not a thought, a physical document. Why? Because writing is the first step of bringing the invisible, thought, into the visible, paper. It is a magical act of precipitation. Your definite chief aim serves as the constitution of your mastermind. When you gather your alliance, everyone must be aligned with this aim. If you want to build a steel empire and your partner wants to open a bakery, there is no harmony. The vector is split. The power is diluted. The statement must be read aloud. Hill instructed us to read it twice daily, once just before sleeping and once just after waking. Why? To impregnate the subconscious mind, which we will cover in autosuggestion. When you read it aloud with your mastermind partners, you are engaging in a mass hypnosis of success. You are convincing each other that the goal is not a fantasy, but a fact not yet revealed. The definite chief aim creates a filter. Once you know exactly what you want, you can ignore everything that does not lead to it. Does this opportunity help the chief aim? No. Discard it. Does this person help the chief aim? No. Ignore them. It simplifies your life. It gives you the ruthless focus of a laser. You must be specific. I want money is noise. I will possess $10,000 by January 1st, 2030, which will come to me through the sale of my software company, is a signal. The ether can process that signal. Do not be afraid to aim high. The effort required to aim high is the same as the effort required to aim low. It takes the same amount of energy to be miserable as it does to be wealthy. The difference is only the direction of the aim. Affirmations of the aim. I have a definite chief aim that guides my every action. I know exactly what I want and when I will get it. I am a non-drifter. I steer my ship with absolute precision. I align my mastermind around this singular burning purpose. I am moving toward my goal, and my goal is moving toward me. Chapter 4. The Sexual Transmutation. Fueling the Engine. We arrive at the most controversial and misunderstood chapter of Napoleon Hill's philosophy, the mystery of sex transmutation. The uninitiated giggle at this. The master understands that this is the nuclear reactor of the system. Hill observed a pattern. Most men of great wealth and power did not reach their peak until after the age of 40 or 50. Why? Because in their youth, they dissipated their sexual energy in the pursuit of physical gratification. Sex energy is not just biological, it is creative energy. It is the most powerful drive in the human animal. It is the force that creates life itself. If you take that force and, instead of releasing it physically, you transmute, redirect it into your business, your art, or your definite chief aim, you become unstoppable. A mastermind fueled by transmuted sexual energy creates charisma. What is charisma? It is a high vibration of vital energy. It makes you magnetic. When you walk into a sales meeting with this energy contained and directed, people are drawn to you. They feel your intensity. They feel your life force. This is not about celibacy. It is about control. The drifter is a slave to his urges. If he feels a desire, he seeks to satisfy it immediately. He leaks his power. The master feels the desire and says, "Good, I have fuel." He takes that restlessness, that aggression, that hunger, and he pours it into his work. In the context of the mastermind, this energy is crucial. The creative interaction between minds is a form of mental sex. It is the planting of a seed, idea, in the womb of the mind, which gives birth to a physical reality. Hill noted that the most powerful masterminds often contained a feminine influence. The presence of the feminine energy stimulates the masculine mind to higher vibrations. You must learn to recognize when your energy is high. Do not waste it on trivialities. Do not waste it on cheap dopamine. When you feel that surge of vitality, go to your desk. Write the plan, make the call, build the empire. You are riding a tiger. If you let the tiger run wild, it eats you. If you put a saddle on the tiger, it carries you to the throne. Transmutation is the alchemical secret of the ages. It turns the lead of physical lust into the gold of genius. Harness the beast. Drive the engine. Affirmations of transmutation. I control my vital energy and direct it toward my purpose. I transmute my physical drive into creative genius. I am magnetic, charismatic, and filled with life force. I use my passion as the fuel for my mastermind. I am the master of my impulses, never their slave. Chapter 5. The Council of the Invisible Masters. What if you cannot find living people who are on your level? What if you are surrounded by small minds? Napoleon Hill provides a mystical solution that he practiced every night. The invisible counselors. Hill would close his eyes and imagine he was sitting at a council table. He invited the greatest minds of history to sit with him. He invited Napoleon Bonaparte for strategy. He invited Abraham Lincoln for integrity. He invited Ralph Waldo Emerson for philosophy. He invited Andrew Carnegie for wealth. He would hold imaginary conversations with them. He would ask them questions, and here is the spooky part. They would answer. This is not hallucination. This is accessing the ether. Remember, the mastermind connects you to the infinite intelligence, the wisdom of Lincoln, the strategy of Napoleon. These frequencies still exist in the ether. By visualizing them intensely, Hill was tuning his mental radio to their specific frequency. You can do this tonight. Create your own invisible council. Who do you need on your board? Marcus Aurelius, Steve Jobs, King Solomon. Invite them into your mental sanctuary. See them clearly. Hear their voices. Ask them, how do I solve this problem? Then sit in silence and wait for the flash of inspiration. This technique bypasses your own limited logic. It allows you to think outside of your own brain. When you act as if you are Steve Jobs, you start accessing the neural pathways and the etheric data associated with that archetype. You must treat this ritual with solemnity. It is not a game. Hill claimed that, after a while, the characters took on a life of their own. They would argue with each other. They would give him advice he hadn't thought of. This is the third mind in action. You are tapping into the Akashic records. Though Hill didn't use that term, the concept is identical. Build your cabinet. You are the president. They are your advisors. Never make a major decision without consulting the council. This gives you the confidence of the ages. You are not walking alone. You are walking with the giants of history. Affirmations of the invisible. I commune with the great minds of history in my inner sanctuary. I draw upon the wisdom of the ages to solve my problems. I am never alone. The giants of the past walk with me. I tune my mind to the frequency of genius. I receive counsel from the invisible masters of success. Chapter 6. The vibration of absolute faith. Faith is not just a religious term. In the Hill Code, faith is a state of mind. It is a specific chemical and electrical vibration of the brain. Fear is a vibration. Faith is a vibration. They cannot coexist. Fear attracts negative circumstances. Faith attracts positive circumstances. The mastermind must be grounded in faith. If you have a definite chief aim, but you doubt you can achieve it, you are pressing the gas and the brake at the same time. You will strip the gears. You must cultivate applied faith. How do you create faith where there is none? You cannot just decide to have faith. You must build it. You build it through the next principle, autosuggestion. But first, you must understand the state of knowing. Faith is the visualization of and belief in the attainment of desire. It is looking at your empty bank account and seeing it full, not hoping it is full. Knowing it is full in the potential future and acting as if that future is inevitable. The mastermind group acts as a faith battery. When your faith wavers, the faith of your partners holds you up. This is why Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them." The I is the infinite intelligence. It shows up when the collective faith is strong enough to pull it down. You must eliminate the word impossible from your vocabulary. Hill teaches that faith is the only known antidote for failure. It is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. When you sit with your counsel, visible or invisible, you must generate an atmosphere of absolute certainty. We are doing this. It is done. The check is already signed in the ether. This vibration is contagious. It spreads to your clients, your investors, your market. People want to follow someone who knows where they are going. Faith is the ultimate leadership tool. Affirmations of faith. I possess absolute faith in the realization of my desire. I vibrate at the frequency of certainty and power. I see the invisible, believe the incredible, and receive the impossible. I am the master of my doubt. I replace fear with faith. I know that my success is inevitable. Chapter 7. The Autosuggestion Protocol. Writing the Code. We now move to the mechanic, the tool used to install faith and the chief aim. This is autosuggestion. Your subconscious mind is a garden. It will grow whatever seeds fall into it. For most of your life, you have let weeds fall into it. Fear news, negative friends, self-doubt. Autosuggestion is the act of deliberately planting specific seeds. It is self-hypnosis. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between a real event and a vividly imagined one. If you tell it, "I am wealthy," and you mix that thought with emotion, the subconscious accepts it as a fact. It then goes to work to make that fact true in the physical world. Here is the protocol. 1. Go to a quiet place, your inner citadel. 2. Close your eyes. 3. Repeat your definite chief aim aloud. 4. Crucial step. As you speak the words, you must feel the reality of them. You must see the money in your hands. You must feel the joy of possession. 5. Repeat this morning and night. Why aloud? Because the sound of your own voice has a commanding effect on your psyche. Why emotion? Because the subconscious is deaf to cold logic. It only hears feeling. Words without emotion are dead seeds. Words with emotion are live seeds. You are rewriting your operating system. You are the programmer. The subconscious is the computer. If you say, "I am a failure," the computer says, "Command accepted, executing failure program." If you say, "I am a master of wealth," The computer says, "Command accepted, executing wealth program." It requires repetition. You cannot do it once. You must do it until the new thought pattern becomes a physical neural pathway in your brain. This is the secret of the ages. You become what you think about most of the time. Autosuggestion allows you to control what you think about. Your mastermind partners can help with this. You can practice heterosuggestion, suggestion by another. Look your partner in the eye and tell them, "You are a genius. You are succeeding." You become the mirror for their greatness. Affirmations of autosuggestion. I am the guardian of my subconscious mind. I plant only seeds of success, wealth, and health. I command my mind with emotion and conviction. I repeat my truth until it becomes my reality. I am constantly reprogramming myself for higher achievement. Chapter 8. The Steel Trap of Specialized Knowledge. There is a myth that knowledge is power. Napoleon Hill corrects this. Knowledge is only potential power. It only becomes power when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. General knowledge, what you learn in school, is useless for the accumulation of money. Professors have general knowledge, yet many are poor. You need specialized knowledge. This is the specific technical, strategic, or market knowledge required to achieve your definite chief aim. But here is the mastermind hack. You do not need to possess this knowledge yourself. Henry Ford was once sued for being ignorant. In court, he was asked trivial questions about history. Ford replied, "Why should I clutter up my mind with general knowledge when I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk? By pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire." Ford had a mastermind. He didn't need to know how to build the engine. He needed engineers in his alliance. He didn't need to know the law. He needed lawyers in his alliance. The Napoleon Hill Code teaches you to organize knowledge, not just memorize it. Identify the knowledge gap between you and your goal. Do you need to know marketing, real estate law, crypto coding? You have two choices. 1, learn it yourself, slow. 2, bring an expert into your mastermind, fast. The mastermind allows you to compress time. You can rent the brains of other men. You can stand on the shoulders of giants. Do not be intimidated by what you don't know. Your job is not to be the encyclopedia. Your job is to be the captain. The captain doesn't need to know how to fix the boiler. He just needs to know where the ship is going. Affirmations of knowledge. I organize knowledge into plans of action. I leverage the specialized knowledge of my mastermind alliance. I am not afraid of what I don't know. I find those who do. I keep my mind clear of trivialities to focus on my purpose. I transform information into power through execution. Chapter 9. The Imagination Workshop, the Alchemist's Lab. We return to the mental faculty that Hill calls the workshop of the mind. Imagination. It is the literal workshop wherein are fashioned all plans created by man. The impulse, the desire, is given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imaginative faculty. There are two types of imagination. 1. Synthetic imagination. This rearranges old ideas into new combinations. This is what most inventors and business people use. You take a phone and a music player and combine them. iPhone. 2. Creative imagination. This is the link to the infinite intelligence. This is where hunches and inspirations come from. This works best when the conscious mind is vibrating at a high rate, stimulated by the mastermind or sexual transmutation. You must exercise your imagination. It is a muscle. If you don't use it, it atrophies. The mastermind group is the gym for your imagination. When you brainstorm, a term that literally describes a storm of brain energy, you are using synthetic imagination collectively. One person's idea sparks another, which sparks another. The result is something no single person could have conceived. You must treat your ideas with respect. An idea is an infant. It is fragile. If you expose it to the harsh air of criticism too early, it dies. Nurse your ideas in the privacy of the mastermind. Feed them. Let them grow strong before you release them into the world. Hill says, man can create anything which he can imagine. Look around you. Everything, The chair, the computer, the building was once just a wave of energy in someone's imagination. You are an alchemist. You turn the invisible, thought, into the visible, gold. The workshop is open. What will you build today? Affirmations of imagination. I am the alchemist of my own reality. I use my imagination to create new worlds of opportunity. I combine old ideas into new fortunes. I receive divine inspiration through my creative faculty. I turn the invisible desires of my heart into physical fact. Chapter 10. The Organized Planning, Crystallizing Desire. You have the desire, you have the faith, you have the imagination. Now you must crystallize it into organized planning. This is the bridge between the dream and the reality. You are the architect. You cannot build a skyscraper without blueprints. The mastermind is crucial here. You present your rough plan to your council. Here is how I plan to get the 10 million. Their job is to poke holes in it, to stress test it, to refine it. They offer the specialized knowledge you lack. By the time the plan leaves the mastermind, it should be bulletproof. Hill warns, if the first plan which you adopt does not work successfully, replace it with a new plan. Do not quit the goal, quit the plan. Most people fail because they confuse the plan with the goal. When the plan fails, they give up on the goal. The persistence is in the goal. The flexibility is in the plan. You must act as a general. A general has a strategy. He moves troops, resources, with precision. He does not hope for victory, he plans for it. Your plan must be practical, it must be actionable, it must have deadlines. The code requires you to sign this plan. Make a contract with yourself and your mastermind. I commit to executing this plan for the next 90 days without wavering. This creates accountability. Without a plan, you are just wishing. With a plan, you are a threat to the status quo. Affirmations of planning. I crystallize my desire into definite, practical plans. I use the mastermind to perfect and stress test my strategy. I am flexible in my methods, but rigid in my goals. I replace failure with a new and better plan. I am the general of my destiny, organizing my victory. Chapter 11. The Decision. The Death of Procrastination. Hill analyzed 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure. The number one cause of failure was lack of decision. Procrastination is the enemy. It is the thief of time. It is the slow death of the soul. The rich and powerful share one trait. They make decisions quickly and change them slowly. The poor and unsuccessful share the opposite trait. They make decisions slowly and change them quickly. Why do people hesitate? Fear. Fear of criticism. Fear of being wrong. The mastermind gives you the courage to decide. When you have the backing of the council, you are less afraid. Also, the mastermind demands speed. We agreed to this last week. Did you do it? The pressure of the group forces you to act. You must realize that indecision is a decision. It is a decision to fail. It is a decision to let the currents of life take you wherever they please. The code demands that you cut off all other possibilities. The word decision comes from the Latin decidere, meaning to cut off. When you decide, you cut off the retreat. You burn the ships. You leave yourself no option but victory. Be opinionated. Have a backbone. Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of them. Do not let the opinions of others sway your decision. Listen to your counsel, yes. But the final yes or no comes from the hegemonicon, the ruling faculty of your own mind. Strike while the iron is hot. Affirmations of decision. I am a decisive leader. I make choices with speed and confidence. I change my decisions slowly, if at all. I cut off all paths to retreat. I move only forward. I ignore the cheap opinions of the world. I master procrastination through immediate action. Chapter 12. The Persistence. The Sustained Blast. You have the plan. You made the decision. You took action. Now comes the test. The resistance. The universe will test your resolve. Things will go wrong. The plan will fail. The only thing that separates the winner from the loser at this stage is persistence. Hill calls persistence the sustained blast. It is the ability to keep the fire burning when the fuel runs low. It is a state of mind that can be cultivated. The mastermind is your persistence insurance. When you are alone, it is easy to quit. No one is watching. When you are in the alliance, you cannot quit. You have made a pledge. Your partners will pick you up when you fall. They will remind you of the chief aim. They will not let you settle for mediocrity. There is a hidden guide that tests men through failure. Hill says, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This is the seed of equivalent benefit. The drifter sees only the failure. The master looks for the seed. Persistence is the tool you use to dig for that seed. Most people quit 3 feet from gold." Recall the story of R.U. Darby. He stopped digging just before he hit the vein. Do not be Darby. When you feel like quitting, you are usually closer than you think. The resistance is strongest just before the breakthrough. Hold the line. Let your will be the iron rod that holds the structure together. Affirmations of persistence. I possess the power of sustained effort. I never quit. I find the seed of benefit in every failure. I draw strength from my alliance when my own strength fades. I am 3 feet from gold, and I keep digging. I am unstoppable, relentless, and inevitable. Chapter 13. The Sixth Sense, the Temple of Wisdom. We ascend now to the apex of the philosophy, the sixth sense. This is the door to the Temple of Wisdom. It is the receiving set of the brain. It is the medium through which the infinite intelligence communicates voluntarily, without any effort from or demands by the individual. You cannot force the sixth sense. You can only prepare for it. You prepare for it by mastering the other principles: desire, faith, autosuggestion, transmutation. When the machine is tuned, the sixth sense turns on. What does it feel like? It feels like a guardian angel. You get warnings of impending danger. You get flashes of opportunity. You just know things. This is the third mind operating at its highest capacity. Napoleon Hill believed that through the sixth sense, a human being contacts the universal mind. This is where miracles happen. This is where you become a genius. A genius is simply a man who has discovered how to increase the vibrations of thought to the point where he can freely communicate with sources of knowledge not available through the ordinary rate of vibration. The mastermind stimulates this vibration. When the discussion in your council gets heated, intense, and harmonious, you will feel a shift in the room. The air gets electric. That is the sixth sense activating for the group. In that moment, write down everything. The ether is pouring gold into the room. Respect the intuition. It is the voice of the master. Affirmations of the sixth sense. I am open to the whispers of the sixth sense. I trust the warnings and inspirations that come from within. I am connected to the universal mind. I prepare my mind to receive the highest wisdom. I walk with the guidance of the infinite. Chapter 14. The brain, the broadcasting station. Your brain is not just a storage device. It is a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. Hill foreshadowed modern radio theory. Every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought which are being released by other brains. This explains the mob psychology, negative, and the mastermind, positive. When you are in a crowd of angry people, your brain picks up the anger frequencies. You become angry. When you are in a mastermind of wealthy, positive people, your brain picks up the wealth frequencies. You become wealthy. You must secure your station. You must choose what you broadcast and what you receive. The ether is the medium. When you think with high emotion, faith, sex desire, you are broadcasting a high-frequency signal. This signal travels without interference. It reaches the brains of people who can help you. This is telepathy. Not parlor tricks, but practical business telepathy. When you intensely desire a meeting with someone, and you broadcast that desire with faith, they will often feel the urge to contact you. You are magnetizing the ether. The mastermind creates an interlocking chain of broadcasting stations. 5 brains broadcasting the same intent are stronger than one. You are creating a massive signal tower. We want this contract. We want this victory. The universe hears the shout. Tune your receiver. Turn off the fear frequency. Turn on the success frequency. What you tune into, you become. Affirmations of the brain. I am a powerful broadcasting station of positive thought. I receive only those vibrations that align with my purpose. I tune my mind to the frequency of wealth and success. I connect with the minds of others through the ether. I magnetize my reality with the power of my thought waves. Chapter 15. The final initiation. The devil wits. Outwitted, we conclude with the shadow. Napoleon Hill wrote a manuscript that was hidden for 70 years. Outwitting the devil. In it, he interrogates the devil, the negative force of nature. The devil reveals his secret weapon, drifting. He controls 98% of humanity because they do not think for themselves. They drift. The mastermind is the antidote to drifting. The mastermind forces you to think. It forces you to be definite. The devil cannot touch a man who thinks for himself. The devil uses hypnotic rhythm to make habits permanent. If you drift into poverty, hypnotic rhythm keeps you there. If you drift into ill health, hypnotic rhythm keeps you there. But you can use this law for yourself. If you establish the habit of the mastermind, the habit of faith, the habit of action, hypnotic rhythm will take over and make success permanent. You will reach a point where you cannot fail because success has become a law of your nature. This is the final initiation. You must break the rhythm of failure. You must establish the rhythm of success. You must stop drifting. Take the wheel. You have the code. You have the third mind. You have the infinite intelligence. The secret of Andrew Carnegie is now yours. Do not let it remain a theory. Go find your alliance. Go write your chief aim. Go activate the machine. The ether awaits your command. The mastermind awaits your summons. The world awaits your empire. Final affirmations of the master. I am a non-drifter. I think for myself. I use the law of hypnotic rhythm to make success permanent. I defeat the negative forces through definite purpose. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. It is done.